Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Parashat Chukat. This week's Parashat starts off with the laws of Paraduma, and then goes over to the death of Miriam. Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam, or according to the order of age, Miriam, Aaron, and Moshe have been leading Bnei Israel for over 40 years in the desert. Beforehand, for the last 2 years in Egypt. And Miriam already way beforehand, when she was a 5-year-old girl, was already had a prophecy about Moshe being born, and she stood outside to see what's going to happen with him when his mother had to put him in the Nile. And at the age of 125, she passes away after many years together. 40 years of leading Am Yisrael together in the desert. And Moshe and Aaron, well, naturally they need to set Shiva, they need to, it's a big change. Big changes are happening. And, okay, they sit down, okay, this is, it says, ובואו בני ישראל כל העדה מתברצים בחודש הראשון, וישב שם העם בקדש, ותמות שם מרים, ותיקבר שם. So they, okay, she dies, she passes away, ראש חודש ניסן. And then Moshe and Aaron are sitting. They start, they come back from the funeral. It's time to start sitting Shiva, and the whole of Bnei Israel is coming around them. Wow, such respect for Miriam. But no, that's not what's happening. The Psukim say, וירב העם עם משה ויאמרו לאמור ולו גברנו מגבור אחרינו לפני אדוני. They start fighting with Moshe. What's happening here? Skip the pasuk. So what was happening? What's happening is, ולא היה מים לעדה, ויקהלו על משה ועל אהרון. There's no water. No water in the desert is a problem. You've got a camp, 600,000 men, and women, and kids, and elderly people, or only elderly women, not men. Yeah, but it's about 2 million people. And there's no water in the desert. That's a life-threatening situation. So on one hand, you've got Moshe and Aaron, and they mourning. And the well that they had the whole time in the desert is gone, because the well was there called Be'era Shel Miriam, was there because of Miriam. What do you do now? How are we going to survive? What's happening? But Moshe and Aaron, they mourning. So what are we going to do? But Bnei Israel, they all come. ויקהלו על משה ועל אהרון. And then וירב העם עם משה ואהרון. And Vilama, why did you bring us here? And why did you take us out of Egypt? And this place, it's not a good place. What are we doing here all together? Everything's going the wrong way. Excuse me. What do Moshe and Aaron do? What are they going to do now? How are they going to react to the situation? The pasuk says, ויבוא משה ואהרון מפני הקהל אל פתח אוהל מועד. They go to אוהל מועד, to the Mishkan. וילפלו על פניהם. They pray. וירא כבוד אדוני עליהם. And God appears upon them, and then he sends Moshe outside. We see Bnei Israel, what they were asking for water, they get water back there. And Moshe did something wrong over there. That's many commentaries about what happened there. I don't feel I'm the person to speak about what Moshe did wrong. I've got there's enough to speak about me, what I've done wrong. But the outcome is that Moshe and Aaron are punished for the way they react. Means Bnei Israel asked for something that's okay, although they asked in the wrong manner. Moshe and Aaron react in a way that isn't proper, and they get punished. They're not going to enter Eretz Israel. Okay? Then, Parasha goes on, and Perek Kaf Aleph, after Edom won't let Bnei Israel pass through their land, and after the Canaanite come and fight and say, take someone hostage, or as prisoner, and Bnei Israel free, but it's then they need to start walking from where Aaron passes away, and before the war against the Canaanim, and Bnei Israel are walking. ויסעו מאור ההר דרך ים סוף לסבוב את ארץ אדום. They now need to go around Edom. Edom is somewhere, Jordan, southern Jordan. And instead of walking down through the Jordan Valley or up the Jordan Valley to reach the area by Jericho, they now have to climb up to the Jordan Mountains, which are quite high up. and then across the top of the mountains and down somewhere else to get back to the Jordan, to cross the Jordan back into Israel. And then ותקצר נפש העם בדרך. They get impatient, they get angry. וידבר העם באלוהים ובמשה, and they start speaking against God and against Moshe. Lama, why did you take us out of Egypt? What's all those just to kill us over here? And then they get punished. So we see the first time that they speak in a disrespectful manner, nothing happens. The second time, also what they complain about is slightly different. The first time there's no water, that's a life-threatening situation. The second time, it's very tough, it's very hard. They saw an easier way out of it, didn't work out. But what's happening also is it's the second time that the way they react is very, very impulsive, full of emotions, shouting, surrounding Moshe, fighting against Moshe and Yaron, against Moshe and God over here. And here they get punished. And we see that although what they were speaking about, what they were complaining about, definitely the first time, and also the second time, those are things that could come up. These are problems. One of them is totally life-threatening situation. The other one is very tough. We need to deal with it. This whole camp, 2 million people climbing up the mountains. It's not easy. But the way they speak, and that's the problem. And also the way that Moshe and Aaron reacted. And the punishment happens to Moshe and Aaron because of the way they reacted. And the punishment of Bnei Israel is because of the way that they complaining. And we see over here that sometimes, I'm not sure sometimes, maybe even always. I think it's better said always. How things are said is more important than what is actually said. Because the complaint could be okay, but you're creating something in the relationship in the way that you say things. And sometimes even when the other side started off speaking in a wrong manner, the way you react, now that's your responsibility. You can't say they started in a wrong manner, I'm going to, started war, it's war, let's take the swords out, let's go ahead. No. Our responsibility, always, as human beings, is to speak properly, to act properly, to be considerate, to realize that if someone's speaking to me like that, they're going through something's happening with them, I need to understand what's happening there. It's very hard, because when there's a personal attack against you, to now say, no, but the reason they're attacking you personally isn't because of me, it's because of something that's hard for them. It's not it's very nice. Yeah, I've got some air conditioning. Okay, no one's in the room, no one's disturbing. Everything's fine. Over here, it's easy to speak about it. But when you're in the situation there and everyone's heaped up and everything, it's very hard to keep that kind of point of view. But that's the demand from Bnei Israel. That's the demand that God's demanding them. It reminds me of a story I once heard about this business school that decided to do a research about how people become millionaires. And they sent each one of the students to spend some time with someone who'd become a millionaire to learn from him how he did that. That's eventually these guys in business schools. That's what they want to learn how to do. They want to learn how to become millionaires. That's clearly the objective. And they finished their research. I think they went to interview 50 or 250 millionaires. And everyone comes more or less with the same kind of reaction of be focused, set goals, work hard, don't stop for obstacles, don't just keep on going, whatever stands in your way, push it aside, keep on going, apart from one. One of the guys says, no, it's consideration, listening to the other people, taking care of other people. And they said, well, what's going on here? They understand everyone else. They understand him. How does it work? They tell him, like, what happened? How did this happen? He says, no, we've got a thing in our business that every year I take all of the C-level managers and we travel somewhere around the world. We go to meet a new culture, a new way of life, expand our horizons, understand better about things, also some time to get together. And one time we went to Israel, and we'd seen all the holy places and archaeological sites and highlights and all stuff like that. And at the end of one of the days in Jerusalem, the guide tells us, listen, there's another place, it's on the itinerary, I want to take you there. The guide was a good guide. Okay, we said, okay, let's go ahead. We travel on the bus. We stop outside in this neighborhood that doesn't look not the best upkeep of the neighborhood. Outside this big building, and he tells us, listen, people, if you have institution, educational institution, post high school, over 6,000, about 6,000 students, what size of a campus do you need? And they all start making these calculations of learning space and space for eating and dining rooms and open space around it and bathrooms and kitchens and stuff like this. And they come out with whatever you need for that. He says, okay, we're going to see a place here that's got about 1 square meter per person for 6,000 students. They're like, that's conch. You're brushing against people the whole time. Does it sound logical? He says, okay, now to run an operation like that of 6,000 students, what do you need? What kind of leadership do you need for that? And they start working out of finance and technical things and admissions and everything. And how do you do it? And he says, no, it's one person running the whole show. They come, he says, and we're going to go in and we're going to meet him. And they walk into the Mir Yeshiva, and they go to Rav Finkel, Zecher Tzedek V'Kadosh Livracha. Well, not only that, but he also had Parkinson's, okay, and with all of that, he ran the whole operation. And they walk in, and people are sitting in the hallways and in the corridors and everywhere. Anyway, we can put a chavruta to sit alone. There's a chavruta sitting alone in. And they walk in past, and the people come through in Shalom. If they need to move aside to let the people pass, they move aside, let the people pass. And they can't believe they've never seen anything like this. People learning so deeply engaged in the learning on one hand, on the other hand, in such conditions. And they walk into Rav Finkel's office, and it doesn't look like an office of someone who's running an operation that size. And they all squash into the office. And they want to understand what's going on here. He tells them, listen, if I was dealing with cows, I would have a problem. Because a cow, when it sees the food, it wants to go to the food. Doesn't matter if there's another cow standing in the way, if there's anything on the floor, and it just goes forward in all the dirt, pushing everyone aside. There's food there, wants to get the food. But we're dealing with human beings. Human beings have eyes, they have a heart. They see someone else, they care about someone else, they're respectful for other people, they consider it. So what's the problem? Okay, so that's the secret. We need to be human beings. We can't be cows. Okay, we need to think about not only what we're saying, and is what we're saying legitimate, not legitimate, but also the way we say. And even when sometimes we feel under attack because the other side, our spouse, someone else is speaking to us in a disrespectful way, remember what it's about, okay? Probably something's very disturbing for them. They're trying to understand what's happening, why it's wrong. This is not easy, but this is the way. Be'ezrat Hashem, Shabbat Shalom.